Rue, start the show! I'm Beatrice, your badass branding strategy girl, and welcome to the Art of Branding Badassery podcast. Rue expects your best branding game. You don't want to miss out on 95% of your audience, do you? Today, we're starting the very first episode of the Art of Branding with building out a solid internal branding with a cracker mission and vision. Our guest today is a fellow Aussie and self-professed king of making Toblerone cheesecake, which, by the way, I want some stats. He is not just a master of chaos, but also a business whisperer, a profit accelerator, and a clarity creator. And the ability to build self-sufficient teams. He's here to unlock some secrets to success. Please welcome our guest, Michael Clift. Thank you so much for joining.
Thanks, Beatrice. And with an entrance like that, I better live up to it. And I don't know how well Toblerone cheesecake really holds up in the mail, but I guess we can find out.
Just put it in some ice, like ice packet. Send it like via DHL, or just like send it with someone that's coming to Bangkok. It's totally gonna be a thing, and then I can test and see the quality matching to the steaks.
I know what customs is like there. That cheesecake is gone.
Definitely. They're going to be like, sorry, excuse me, we're going to eat this firstly. We just need to sample to make sure that this is of quality. Unfortunately, there is none left now. So, Michael, you've gone through quite the journey in your career from leading teams and competing supermarket chains, Coles and Woolies. Did you know I've actually worked with Coles? To coaching small business owners. How did your experiences shape your understanding of mission and vision and its impact on overall success?
Okay. That's a big one. I think, so when I first started out in business, my understanding of that was very limited. So it was all about like, just get stuff done to make money. That's it. And then it was very much about making people do stuff to get money. And it was like, I got taught to rule by fear. And it's a really bad way to get people to do things. It's not a good motivator. And it took me a bit of time to understand that you've got to get people's buy-in, right? And to get people's buy-in, you actually have to take them along the journey for you, or with you, sorry. And to do that, you actually need to be going somewhere. And that's where the vision comes in, is like the vision is your North Star, right? It's like, where are we going? This is the guiding star, and that's the direction we're going in. And a vision ideally needs to be something that's big and probably unattainable, so that like you can keep moving towards it. And then the mission, which is the day-to-day of how we're taking the steps to get there, well, that's what you're getting the buy-in for everyone from, so that we can take that action and moving towards the vision. Now, learning that was really difficult, because the culture, which you would know from working in those places, is not like that at all. It's very much, this is the bottom line, make it work. And it was definitely coming out of that environment and working in different small businesses and investing a lot of money in a lot of coaching and mentoring, and getting a lot more exposure to other businesses, where I realized that there was a different way to do things. And that, like, firstly, being able to get buy-in from people by showing them where we're going, and then really seeing, like, Simon Sinek, obviously a huge influence there. Like, start with why was like I don't want to say change my life, but it feels like it changed my life. And really get, like, once you hit that switch and you can understand that, it changes your world.
It's amazing. I love his books. They're addictive. They're by themselves, it's something, but as a part of an entire strategy, like with what you've built, it's amazing. And that moves me on to the next question is, you've worked with an amazing range of businesses. with revenues from 500,000 to 52 million on growth, increasing their profits, and utilizing their time. Can you share a bit of your secret sauce for aligning that internal branding with the level of growth that you've had or you've seen them have through how you've worked with them?
So aligning the internal branding is an interesting one because I don't think that most people think about the internal branding at all, period. And I would like, as you're aware, I'm at my parents at the minute, like because I'm going in to work on the family business in the morning. And looking like I was listening to Alex Hormozi on the way here, and it's so fitting because the podcast I'm listening to, he was talking about brand, and he was saying that brand is the biggest risk. And I was like, oh my God, I get that straight away because I'm talking about to small business owners about this all the time. Is that if you have a team of
Mm,
hundreds, thousands of people, what the actions of one person doesn't matter so much. But when we're talking about a team of 100, a team of 50, a team of 20, a team of 10, a team of 5, one person's action is a huge impact on your business because it's a direct reflection on you of what your business stands for. And we like you on LinkedIn, we're on LinkedIn all the time. That's where we met. And everyone talks about, okay, your brand and your colors and all this stuff. They don't talk about the teams. And the teams are really important because if someone stuffs up,
mm,
that's a reflection on you. So internally, and I'm going to bring it back to the vision and the mission, is that you want people that align with those things because then if they align with that, those actions that they take are going to be aligned with your brand.
yeah,
And that's like without that, and if you have people going off in opposite directions, doing things that don't make sense for your brand, you break trust with your clients. And that's a problem.
exactly.
And I learned that the hard way.
How so?
Well, just like through a lot of different businesses, and just you start something up or you're working with something, and someone goes off and does like something that reflects badly. I'm not going to put any businesses on the bus, but who I am going to put on under the bus is because it's a very public thing in Western Australia, where I am at the minute. Is the one of the state football teams, they're not performing. The football team is not performing, but every Friday and Saturday night, they're all out on the town drinking. So all the members of the football team, because they all pay memberships, are up in arms and they've gone, this is ridiculous. Like, you're supposed to be performing. Your brand is you're out there, you're professionals, you're sports people, and then you're out on the town playing up. And that's a great example of the brand is supposed to be, we are elite professionals
Mm.
that are performing on behalf, and we're representing our state and we're representing our membership who pay to support us, and we're out drinking and then we suck at playing. That's terrible.
Yeah, that is incredible. It reminds me of the recent scuffle with Bud Light. Did you hear about that? With the one marketing manager that accidentally
I didn't hear directly.
I saw it in the news, and it's an interesting example of what you've just said there. So just one person who just didn't recognize from the values and the mission, etc., of where the business is, and just went ahead and partnered with an influencer that is of very different values.
It's a problem. And it does come down to, like, we don't understand the vision, we don't understand the mission. Values are a huge factor. And when people don't align with that and they go do random things, it's bad for business.
God's yes. So, do you have any tips for listeners to define a clear mission and vision?
You need to understand what you're passionate about. Like, once you have a vision of where you want to go, it becomes a lot easier to set up the mission for a start if you know what the vision is,
Mm,
because you can actually go, all right, cool. So mine's like, just to give everyone an example, mine is that to unleash the potential of small businesses to create wealth and enrich lives. And that's based off that I've got a dream that no small business will ever fail. So then the day to day is that we're helping small business owners get focus, clarity, and accountability so that they can obtain more time, more money, peace of mind, and the ability to live their dream. So that's laid out, and then our values just fall in line with that so that it's very clear what has to happen when it needs to happen. And then it's a check on everyone within the business. So to be able to get that clarity around it, you need to understand what you want to achieve. Because if you're just going, I don't want to work for someone else, that's not a vision or a mission. And that's only going to keep you going for so long. If you just go, I want to make money, you're coming from a place of scarcity and people get repelled by that. So clearly define what you want to do. And after that, it gets really easy.
What would you say that one question you ask people that are struggling with those two would be?
What are you good at and what are you passionate about?
Your question is, what would you put out?
So my question is, and it's a two-part question, is what are you good at and what are you passionate about? Because if you're really passionate about something but you're not that good at it, you're probably going to struggle to be able to build a business around it. Like you're probably better off in going getting involved in a business that, like, because small businesses and business in general is hard, especially when you're starting out. But if you're
Yeah.
good at it and you're passionate about it, then you can go, okay, cool. What do I take a stand against? And then how can I build that up? And then you can build the vision from there.
And you have had those experiences to set that up with the businesses that you're working with at the moment. Have you had any challenges with that?
It takes a little bit for people to understand it. Like it look, a lot of the time if you say to someone, hey, you need to build out your vision, you need to what do you want to get behind there? And it feels very fluffy to people. So a lot of the time you to get moving in that direction, it's okay, let's work on your I help statement. And then let's build out your messaging. Okay, well, now that we've really started looking at that, what are you passionate about? And then as you get further down the rabbit hole, it gets a little bit easier. Now that's a little bit in reverse, but sometimes that's where you've got to start with it. Other people just know, like, I'm going and I want to help these people do this. And it's as clear cut as that.
Yeah, exactly. And have you found that, sometimes people will have a mission and vision, but it's purely for, the front facing, but how they feel is something different, and you're pulling out that inside, like those vibes?
It's it's very hard to give something like that lip service because it falls over very quickly.
Yeah.
Because actions and intention, people are the best lie detectors. They don't realize it, but they really are. So it's very
Yeah.
hard to give lip service to that. I haven't actually worked with anyone like that. Anyone that I've seen like that doesn't last very long. I think where you see it a lot is more so when you have like a company where, say, like the founder either sells it or they, like, I had an instance where I was working for a business and the founder passed away and we saw some definite changes and it was not, I would say it was not ideal. And that business is back on track now, but it went through, like, it had some challenges because that vision slipped away because it wasn't replicated by the people that had to take it on.
That is so true. Yes, I couldn't agree more. You know what? I cannot resist asking about your saying on LinkedIn. I saw this post. You said, don't be shit. How do you use this to inspire and instill that sense of mission that's being set up, that you were talking about earlier, that mission, that purpose? How do you bring the team, like, to just use, to feel it, to use it in their work and how they go about their daily lives?
It's a funny thing, right? Because a lot of people, if you just said, "Look, don't be shit," they get quite upset about it, right? So if you want to be able to speak to people like that, it has to be meant in such a way as to inspire them, which seems counterintuitive, but once you build good rapport with people and they actually understand what you're talking about, you clearly define what that means. So, like, don't be shit is very much that, we have clear purpose, we act with intent, we've got values to uphold, and you're just not meeting that because you're not putting in the effort that you should be. Well, don't be shit. And it's just
Okay.
a like wake up, and they're like, oh yeah, yeah, all right, and get on with it, right? Like, but you have to know the people to be able to do, especially in this day and age. Like, like, compared to how I used to use it, like, it's very different now, because I used to use it as a you're just horrible, you suck, like, I can't believe that. Don't be shit, you're rubbish, kind of thing. I don't use it like that anymore, but that's how I did used to use it, 2 decades ago.
I love that, you know. I almost wish that was still a thing, but as you said, times have changed. So I do have a last question, one that I plan on asking everyone that pops on this show. And the question is, what is the biggest societal norm that you want to push back on and teach others about?
Oh god. Rabbit hole central, here we come, kind of thing, right? Look, I think it's one that there's a lot more pushback on already, and it obviously is the education system. I think us personally offline, we've touched on this briefly before, and I think we'll see a massive shift in that in the upcoming years, because, like, information's changing, the way you can learn things is changing. What we need is changing as well. I think our current education system is really set up to create workers, and I think, firstly, it's not very beneficial to the way that we live now, and it doesn't really help people set them up for life. And then the second part is that the way that AI is changing our life, like, if we keep trying to operate the educational system like it is, it's not going to work, because suddenly we're creating all these workers, and then like, I don't want to be a doomsayer, but I reckon the job market's going to look very different in the next decade from what it does now. And if we're creating all these people for it and there's no jobs, like, that's going to be a problem. The reason that I don't like it is I don't know very many people that got a lot out of it. I just all the all the
Mm,
people that I see that are being successful, and the people that I'm around that are doing well in business, like, school had very little to do with it, and that's a problem. If we're like, it's
yeah.
almost like, are we sending kids there just to be babysat? And if that's the case, that's not ideal, because then we've got other people teaching our kids values while we're trying to work.
Would you say then in that case the social aspect is the only thing that's keeping it going strong and keeping it relevant? Because if we're all homeschooling, then that social aspect is maybe less intense.
I have something very controversial to say. Not everyone's going
Yes.
to like it. I think that there are more kids going to school because both parents have to work, so the kids have to have somewhere to go. There, then if both parents didn't have to work, I think there would be a lot more homeschool children. I don't think the social aspect has anything to do with it. I think that it's just not really a life choice for most people.
That makes so much sense. Thank you so much for jumping on with us today, Michael. You can connect with Michael through his dates in the podcast show notes. And if you need any help with your mission, vision, or brand strategy, reach out to me on LinkedIn to get started. Is there anything else that you want to say?
No, if you want to connect with me, it's LinkedIn. That's the best way to do it. I'm adding a ton of content on there that people pay tens of thousands of dollars to get. So if you want free information that you can implement, come find me. But thanks, Beatrice. I really appreciate being the first one on the podcast. Yeah.
Woohoo! Thank you. The Art of Branding Badassery podcast.